Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Nerdy Multiverse. Last year, Star Wars blessed us with a season of Clone Wars-styled animated shorts, exploring the untold and unexplored stories or tales of the Jedi. We got 6 short episodes total, and 3 of those went to each of the characters. We saw the exploration of Ahsoka Tano and her childhood, and explored more of her story after the events of Order 66. And of course, we also saw the upbringing of Count Dooku himself, when he himself was a Jedi, as he took up Qui Gon Jinn as his own padawan and eventually fell to the darkness, becoming Darth Tyranus. After the success of Tales of the Jedi, it was only a matter of time before we got another set of anthology shorts. So, on May the 4th of this year, Star Wars Day itself, Star Wars is yet again blessing us with even more Clone Wars styled animation shorts. But this time around, instead of Tales of the Jedi, it is actually Tales of the Empire, where we will see the stories and the tales of a few more familiar faces being explored, this time during the rise and the reign of the Galactic Empire. 3 episodes of these animated shorts will focus on Morgan Elsbeth, the character from The Mandalorian and the Ahsoka series, seeing the exploration of more Night Sisters and Dathomir, and of course her connection with Grand Admiral Thrawn. However, the other 3 shorts are what this video is entirely about, and quite frankly, the 3 that I am most excited about as a longtime Clone Wars fan, as these 3 will tell the unfinished story of none other than Barriss Offee. During the Clone Wars, Barriss Offee was the Padawan to Jedi Master Luminara Unduli, and we only saw Barriss a handful of times in the earlier seasons of the Clone Wars, where her and Ahsoka Tano would make a rather resourceful duo, going to missions together on Geonosis and battling the brainwashed and zombified versions of their own clones created by the Geonosians. Their resourcefulness as a duo would only go for so long, however, as things took a massive turn in Season 5 of the Clone Wars. This all began when the Jedi Temple's hangar was bombed, and in the attack, 6 Jedi Knights, 8 clone troopers, and 12 maintenance workers were all killed. This led to a spiral of conspiracies and investigations. Ahsoka Tano and Russo ISC worked together to speak with survivors from the explosion and find evidence, to discover who was responsible for such an act. Explosive nanodroids were found at the explosion, and there were a number of suspects involved, such as Jakar Bomani and Letta Turmand. Eventually, after even more tragedies occurred and potential suspects were killed during questioning, the supposing evidence started to point towards Ahsoka Tano herself. Ahsoka would then be imprisoned by Tarkin and his men, but she would eventually escape and make a run for it, as she knew that she did not have anything to do with this, only to be apprehended once more. Ahsoka Tano would then be put on trial for murder and treason, possibly even facing the death penalty, where she would also be expelled from the Jedi Order entirely, all because this evidence, quote-unquote, pointed towards her. But this obviously was not the case, and Anakin Skywalker, her master, knew that. So, after appointing Padme Amidala to defend Ahsoka on her trial and in court, he went on an extreme investigation of his own. This would bring Anakin to meet with Asajj Ventress, who was actually seen with Ahsoka just before her arrest. At first, it was believed that possibly Asajj was responsible for this in some way, but someone attacked her as well, and stole her lightsabers in the process. This all led to Anakin Skywalker confronting Barriss Offee inside of the Jedi Temple and her quarters, where she would challenge him to a lightsaber duel, using the stolen sabers of Asajj Ventress. The culprit had been found. Obviously, Anakin was victorious in the duel, and Barriss Offee would then be apprehended herself and brought into court, just as Ahsoka Tano was about to be sentenced, for crimes that she did not commit. Barriss came clean and admitted to her crimes off the spot, and much like Count Dooku's views, Barriss did not agree with where the Jedi were, believing that they were the ones responsible for this war, and instead of being the peacekeepers that they are meant to be, they are now just soldiers and generals for the Republic and their armies. After the confession, Ahsoka Tano would be freed and offered a spot back in the Jedi Order, but we all know how that went. She declined and went on her own path, while Barriss Offee would be sentenced and imprisoned for the crimes that she had committed and framed Ahsoka for. And ever since then, it has been years and years of speculation and theorizing what happened to Barriss Offee after she was imprisoned, specifically during and after the events of Order 66 and the Jedi Purge. Clone Wars fans such as myself, and quite possibly you as well, would often wonder if she was another survivor of Order 66, and many theories started to sprout, especially during the release of the animated Rebels series. So for years now, fans have been questioning what truly happened to Barriss Offee. Did she survive Order 66? Is she still in prison? Or was there another path for her if she did survive? Possibly a darker one involving the Empire. Perhaps she even became an Inquisitor. Well, now after so many years, these questions will finally be answered. And some have already been answered just by the trailer for Tales of the Empire itself, as we do see her being freed from her prison cell and approached by the Inquisitorius at the very beginning of the Empire's reign, as there are still clone troopers serving. The fourth sister, first seen in the Kenobi series, offers her her freedom and an opportunity and lets her go. Clearly, we will be seeing Barriss Offee go down the route as an Inquisitor, as she will be trained by the Grand Inquisitor and eventually Darth Vader. Barriss Offee has always had some sort of connection to Ahsoka Tano and her story, and there has typically been a crossing of path between the two characters. That could even be a possibility heading into these shorts, or where these shorts are headed for the future. If you didn't catch it, we actually saw Merrick from the Ahsoka series right next to Barriss Offee in the trailer, as well as the Inquisitor that Ahsoka obliterated in Tales of the Jedi next to Merrick. But this also begs the question, will Barriss Offee stay an Inquisitor, or could she break away and go on her own path, as someone who sort of stays in between and lives for themselves? Barriss stood strongly against the Republic and how the Jedi had served them. So to think that Barriss would willingly serve the Empire, an even more extreme version of the Republic, would be quite tragic and ironic. Especially knowing that she would also be serving under Darth Vader, aka Anakin Skywalker, the one who brought her crimes to light. We now know that she is alive and finally returning. But this brings so much more excitement and even more theorizing about what could possibly happen come May the 4th. Will she be one of the first to discover Vader's true identity and have to be dealt with? Or will she meet her former master, Luminara Unduli? Will she stay or leave as an Inquisitor, and is this going to be the end of her story or the beginning of her future? I would not be surprised if we see her with Ahsoka again sometime down the line. Only time will tell, and we will have to wait and find out. But one thing is for certain. It is extremely exciting to see unfold after so many years of questions as a die-hard Clone Wars fan. And now with there being Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire, I wonder if we will end up seeing more anthology shorts just like them. Possibly a Tales of the Sith, or maybe even Tales of the Bounty Hunters. There are so many comics, novels, and untold moments and stories that would be incredible to see animated. So I personally think that they should take up on those opportunities and keep going with these. Characters such as Barriss Offee and Asajj Ventress are characters that have always intrigued me, even if they aren't as mainstream as other characters during the Clone Wars, such as Ahsoka Tano. But I can definitely say that after seeing Asajj Ventress return in the Bad Batch and now seeing the trailer for Tales of the Empire, I am nothing but excited to see what happens with them. And seeing the continuation of Clone Wars animation is absolutely wonderful. I was a bit worried that after Bad Batch it would eventually die down, but they just keep on pushing. Anyways though, of course I would like to hear your thoughts on the return of Barriss Offee as well. Where do you think her story will lead, and what are your thoughts on the Tales of the Empire trailer? So make sure to leave your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like. And with that being said, we will see you all the next time that we go through and explore the nerdy multiverse.